Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Julius Baer Generations Cup. You've been enjoying the recaps thus far. Many of you have been enjoying the chess drama that's going on thus far. Some of you have not been enjoying. Some of you have been defending one side. Some of you have been defending the other side. Some of you have been attacking me. You know, we all have hobbies in this world, but it is time for the knockout. The 8 players that moved on from the 16 will play a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and then there will be a final match. We're about to see, are we destined to get Magnus versus Hans and some sort of forfeiture in the final? What are we going to see? Well, we're about to find out. I'm going to take you through another high-energy recap because you liked the one yesterday. Deep breath. Here we go. We're going to begin with the matchup between Vincent Keimer and Praggnanandhaa R, a.k.a. Ramesh Babu, a.k.a. Lightning Bolt from India. We have d4, d5, and we have knight f3, knight f6, e3, and c5 on the board. Bishop e2, and an opening where it looks like white played a London, except white's London bishop is still drunk asleep at home. CD, ED, and now we're actually playing a Caro Kann. Yeah, check this out. E4, C6, D4, D5, ED, CD, knight F3, knight F6, bishop E2, knight C6, C3. Now watch this. Same position, same position, same position, right? All right, bishop F4, E6, and the following position arises after something like the first 11 moves. There is absolutely nothing in this position for anybody involved. Hi, doggy. You guys can't see, but he's right here. He's spectating the recap. Imagine having a behind-the-scenes access pass to the recap. And if you write, what should we make the number? 3,000 comments. Benji will try to be in the next entire recap. 5,000. You guys did this for Wifey last time. 5,000 comments. I'm going to put a Benji cam in the next recap. A4. He might not sit in the Benji cam the whole time, but we're going to do our best. Rook B8. And throughout the opening, it was just Keimer doing Keimer things. I don't really know what that means because I don't know much about Keimer. But we get a bishopless middle game, and white controls the square e5. If black is unable to successfully push through this pawn or play the move b5, b4, black is going to have nothing. So, watch as the middle game develops. Okay, Pragg is doing some stuff with his knight. a5. Okay, interesting. So Pragg is basically saying he's not going to play b5, right? Well, h4. Pragg's got to do something soon because otherwise Keimer is arriving with the attack. There's b5. There it is. Finally. Take. But the knight on d3 is a beast that's doing a really nice job defending b2. Keimer just very clearly making his intentions known, right? Rook e2, solid position, not allowing black any sort of entry. But wait a minute. What about g4? Uh-oh. Yeah, g4 looks kind of problematic. And here comes a3. A3 is another very interesting move from Pragg. Pragg is, you know, putting the pressure here on Keimer. So this is most certainly looking unpleasant. All right, Pragg not letting him escape. BA, rook b1. Oh my goodness, this king is about to get hunted. Oh gosh, Pragg wants both rooks on the first rank, and Keimer's just trying to trade them off. Suddenly, Keimer's like, let me just hold everything real quick. Oh, rook A, okay, h5. Pragg, who do you think is attacking who? Pragg's like, I'm attacking you, bozo. Rook a3. You guys might be seeing that eval bar. I'm also seeing that eval bar. What the hell is going on? What? Well, it turns out Pragg had to not take the pawn. He had to continue to try to trade the rook and infiltrate on the b file because doing it this way is too slow. Keimer now arrives on the h file. And yes, he does in fact lose another pawn with a tempo. But here, there is h7 check, king h8, and the following move. Knight takes f7. And the problem is that if you play knight f7, I mate you. That must have been missed. And if you play queen f7, I'm taking with check. So then I'm going to be winning your rook. So Keimer wins, but, you know, to me, he kind of doesn't win because he missed the move queen e6, which would have been pretty epic. If Keimer had found queen e6, I probably would have gone and partied. Yeah, queen e6 is a beautiful one. He doesn't see queen e6. That's okay. He finds knight f7. And actually, Vincent Keimer went on to knock out Praggnanandhaa, which is, I mean, it's not an upset, but it's, you know, it's a massive, massive achievement. I mean, Pragg is a beast. This is what happens when some of the younger players play. The games are just absolutely savage all over the place, smackdowns one way or another. The next match that I want to take you to, oh my goodness, Christopher Wu Jin Yu does not have a flag. Let me give this man a flag. So, we are going to jump into this matchup in the third game, all right? They've both traded blows. They've both won a game with the white pieces thus far. They both have 1 point. Arjun Erigaisi is going to be playing a Marshall Gambit. Take, bishop b4. He comes back, and the best move on the board as far as I'm concerned from Christopher Yu, e5. A position of no queens erupts, knight f6 blocks the bishop, and a short while later, we got a really strange decision, it looked like, which was giving up the bishop. But why would he do that? Well, he's doing it because the bishop now has no target. Black bishop is sort of just awkwardly standing there. Knight d6 into the black position, defending, attacking, defending, capturing, and now Erigaisi plays a disrespectful move. He shoves his horse directly in Christopher Yu's face and is like, how do you like it? All right, knight b7. The idea is a3, removing the defense of c5, and in the future, maybe something on the e file, knight c5, knight a6 on the way. But e5 is the best move. He comes back now and forces the king to f7, but listen, to Chris Yu's credit, the man is defending well. Look at White's advantage. It's dwindling. White continuing to try to jump the horse around. Knight c7, rook d4, trying to sacrifice an exchange and try to get this position where, you know, you got the passers, and actually king f6 might not even be the best move. I think it might be to go here and then take like this. My man Chris Yu plays a defensive rook sacrifice, and Arjun Erigaisi doesn't even take it. He takes a pawn instead. We have bishop d2 check. King c2, Erigaisi's on the run. Rook d8, but it's too little too late. The rest of the pawns on the queen side fall, and yes, this is a scary moment for the king, but the king's got absolutely nowhere to go, all right? He's safe, pieces get traded, and what's going to ultimately decide this game is White's A pawn, because that pawn can just go. And when it starts going, is gonna go to a 7. Takes 50 moves. But once it arrives, that is the end of the game. Chris Yu simply doesn't have enough material. A masterful middle game here from Erigaisi, dealing with the counterplay, and his knight was the hero. I mean, I think his knight made more than half his moves. It was truly spectacular. He wins. He puts Chris Yu on the ropes. Chris Yu shows up for the next game. He's like, I don't care if you're like the #2 junior in the world. Let's play a Berlin. I don't care. I will play you in an A4 Berlin. Hans Niemann played this recently versus Levon Aronian in the Singfield Cup and got a great position. Erigaisi plays this line, doesn't play the move A6, and Christopher Yu has to play this kind of variation where he has total symmetry on the board, but a slight damaging of the pawn structure. Erigaisi clears out his c-pawn, rook c3, rook d3, and just calm development. Now, 0-0-0, right? Just a boring old game. Trading pieces, nothing happening. Black very solid. All right, Chris Yu getting, oh, that's a high-level decision. He wants to get into a knight versus bishop position where this knight is a savage and this bishop is forgettable. All right, last thing you want to be is forgettable. You could be loved or hated, but you can't be forgettable. All right, a5. Black's just sitting there like, yeah, do something. Come on. What are you going to do, huh? All right, yeah, I know you want to trade. I'm not going to let you trade. I'm attacking your queen. Oh, look at that move. Chris Yu just sacked the queen. What? Chris Yu, are you insane? My dude just sacked the queen. He has a rook and a knight. What is he doing? I'll tell you what he's doing. He's preparing for the endgame. Chris Yu is doing a Magnus Carlsen impression. He's like, I'm going to get that pawn. Arjun Erigaisi is like, dude, this dude is nuts. What? Like, I have perpetual check. Chris, are you crazy? Now I'm winning. Chris, are you out of your damn mind? Oh, whoa. Arjun just blunders the fact that after queen e1 check, he doesn't actually have perpetual. I think Arjun here thought after queen e5, there was like king g2 or maybe even f4. I don't know. But he misses something and he decides to just, he goes down another piece. Now, yes, he's going to get the knight. But the problem is that now White's king is completely safe. He's no need to do that. He did not need to lose the bishop. And suddenly Chris Yu's pushing the a-pawn. Now we saw one a-pawn decide the game. What is happening here? Chris Yu gets the pawn to a7. You cannot take because rook g4 is going to win the game. Oh my goodness. And from the depths of elimination emerged the Phoenix. And the Phoenix's name was Christopher Woo Jin Yu. And he wins. He wins game 4 on demand. Let's go. It comes down to the blitz. What happens when the players tie 2-2 is they have to play blitz. Chris Yu, first game. He's good. Heard some yelling outside. It's always yelling outside. New York is crazy. You don't know if kids are yelling because they're having fun and they're goofing off or because someone's getting hit by a vehicle. But you live in the right neighborhood, there's less of the vehicle hitting stuff and more of the kids having fun stuff. C5, knight e2, and position clarified very early. Symmetrical structure in the opening. It's going to be one side beating another side from a symmetrical pawn structure. I just said that. By the way, drinking the remainder of my jarritos. Love the lime, love the grapefruit. Let me know your favorite flavor in the comments of jarritos, because we got to get to 5,000 or else Doggy won't be in the recap. You know what I'm saying? So, bishop h4. And not a whole lot. I mean, listen, in the first 15 moves of these games, we ain't going to get a lot. These are really, really high-level players. They're not just going to give up some crazy blunders to one another. So what happens when one of them starts to instigate with the other? Knight f4, like an older sibling with a younger sibling, and h4. Wow. Oh, knight c4, rook e2 defending. And suddenly Chris Yu just can't resist. He plays g5. He's like, you want to attack me? Do you know who I am? Every guy says like, no, not really. Chris Yu's like, oh. Knight takes e6 check, rook e6. And for a very long duration in this game, Chris Yu was just completely falling. But he went for a tactic. He was pushing back Erigaisi. And he grabbed b2 because if rook b2... rook e1. The problem is every guy set a trap. Queen d2. He mirror forces Chris Yu's pieces. All right? Rook e2. Shout out to my Yu-Gi-Oh fans. And suddenly, if this knight goes back to c4, this coming here, black's busted. Black's king is too open. Chris Yu played the move g5. He's got to live by the sword, but unfortunately, he also may have to die by the sword because after knight h5, it's not the move queen b2. It's queen g5 anyway. It's the fact that after even all of this, white just goes queen h4. Black cannot stop white's attack. You can go rook c1. You can try to grab the bishop because then you get mated. And if you try to play defense, I just swarm you. And unfortunately, it was Chris Yu for one half of a move, getting a little bit too confident with the move g5, and Erigaisi makes him pay by the slimmest of margins. And Erigaisi is our second semifinalist. Massive win for Erigaisi. I gotta tell you, a massive event for Chris Yu, who literally a few weeks ago might have not even been invited to this event. Like, they offered him an invitation, and he has made it count, all right? He's got so much to be proud of. This takes me to our final two, obviously, epic matchups of the day, which are Liam versus Hans. Will Hans advance, and will he do it in dominant fashion? Or not dominant fashion, obviously. Some of these matches are up and down. And will Magnus Carlsen advance, right? Magnus versus Levon is still on the table. So, the first game was decided. Liam was the winner in that game. So Hans now has to play for a win with black, which obviously is not easy to do at the level of 2,700. From the opening, it was Liam getting a very comfortable Queen's Indian, which just generally isn't really played a whole lot anymore because it's the equivalent of going to the dentist for fun. And throughout the early stage of this game, it was Liam who built up a monumental advantage. It was big, all right? Really big, all right? That's what he said. Knight f6, g4, bishop d5, f5. Look at this. I mean, Liam is just like... It's like, I don't care about all these Hans rumors. I don't care about all these insinuations. I don't care about the drama. One thing matters. 64 squares, 32 pieces. f5. Hans plays knight d7. Liam has to just take. If Liam takes, and black plays something like fg6, Liam has bishop e4, and knight f7. And if black tries to play defense, knight h6 check, d5, rook f7, the attack just crushes through. But instead of that, Liam trades knights. And then he plays g5. And suddenly, it's not so clear where the attack is anymore. In fact, Hans plays a4. Yo, Hans is actually attacking Liam. Hans grabs a pawn. He plays rook a5. So now after this, there's pure defense of the 5th rank. Queen h4, rook b5. You gotta give this pawn away. Liam's down a pawn. What? Liam plays f6 a little bit later. Liam is a move away from mating the guy, but the guy's gonna go bishop f8. What? Rook a1. Where's the attack? All of Liam's pieces are being bullied. Hans immediately flips the script. c5. Takes. Queen a8. Oh my goodness. From the depths of absolute defeat rises a phoenix, and his name is Christopher. No, it's Hans Niemann. Queen g4. Oh my. And all along, it was the black king that was getting hunted? No. Reverse. It's the white king. All the pawns are falling. Black is rock solid. And the queen, the rook. Oh my god. Look at this move. Bishop to b4. Do you know what the idea of this move is? Look at this. Looks like you mouse slip taking this bishop. Bishop b4. If you take, rook c1. If this, you have queen f3 mate. If king d2, you have queen d1 mate. Bishop b4 is one of the most savage finishes to a game I think I've ever seen. And it's not even the end. He still has to mate him. And mate him he does. Well, by mate him, I mean he wins all his pieces. Check. And Liam resigns. Liam resigns because black is going to, on the very next move, just take and be winning. That means it all comes down to this game. This is game number 4 of Rapid. The winner of this game will move on. d4. Now, this time, we get a semi-Tarash from Hans. We don't get a Queen's Indian. Queen's Indian, a little bit more risky, a little bit more cagey. This is looking to neutralize and send us to an Armageddon. A3, or a playoff. A3 of Blitz. Now, this is a very, very boring system. You notice, up until this point, like everybody's kind of doing their thing here. Rook d1. In this position, white is trying to play d5 and make it interesting. So there's the move d5, okay? Black takes, white takes, black takes, white takes, and black plays the move bishop e7. So far, all theory, all standard g3, right? Now, what white wants to do here is to play the move bishop f4. So Hans plays knight a5, looking to trade light-scored bishops. He goes here, now the queen moves out of the way. Still relatively equal position. In fact, I think all of this is theory. All of this has been played before. And in this position, what black has to do is not allow white to get this pass pawn, because that's going to give too many winning chances to white. Black has to play a move like queen b7, targeting the rook, but then of course rook d1 comes. There's also queen e6, and the difference being, in this case, if you play rook d1, knight b3, knight d4 is an idea. There's another idea here, which is for black to play g5, which is kind of savage. Like, I feel like if you don't know that ahead of time, you're probably not going to play it. And then there's a line knight d7, rook d7, rook d7, queen e6, rook e7, queen e7, still defending this, bishop d2, and then something like knight b3. But in the game, we get queen b7. All right, now we have rook d1, and then Hans does in fact take. So he plays the slightly inaccurate move order, and here comes the d pawn. And a few moves later, that pawn gets real damn close to promotion, and now we sort of see why you can't allow that. Hans might have been able to defend here slightly better. Like, I think after d6, the move knight b3 and trying to get the knight into the center was better. So, for example, if d7, black could play knight d4, right? Knight b3, knight d4. But yeah, instead of that, d6, and he goes the other way. The problem is that this very simple exchange just holds for, doesn't hold. Now bishop d6, he wins a pawn. And then he goes b4, and he just very slowly brings all his pieces forward, gets to a winning rook endgame, and wins the game. It takes 44 moves, but Liam 2 pawns up, converts, and Hans Niemann is out of the Julius Baer Generations Cup. And, obviously we haven't had anything today, but, in some ways it's kind of, it's a little bit disappointing, because I obviously did want to see the potential final, but, listen, Lequang Liam is a beast. Liam Lei is a savage. He has made it to a final multiple times. He's gone up against Magnus, and he can play against the best of the best. When he's on, he's really on. So he knocks out the potential drama final bracket, but full credit to him. And Hans had a very nice comeback in that second game. But this match was really, really, really kind of dominated by Liam. He played super, super well. And as always, we've saved the best for last. This is the match between Magnus Carlsen and Levon Aronian. The first game was weird. It was a Queen's Gambit accepted. And it was relatively boring, just like that last game. All right, it was, this time we had d5 much earlier. In that other game, we had d5 a little bit later. And Magnus goes for rook a2, and early on did not have a whole lot. All right, he just didn't. And then Levon got in with his rook, and right around here was, like, it looked like Magnus was pressuring. It looked like he had a big attack. But Levon played rook here and rook here. And if you notice, the bar just starts, like, falling off a cliff because Black has this idea to sack his pawn. Well, not sack, trade the pawn. And just push the B pawn. Like, the B pawn is going to try to decide this game. And White is going to try to defend against the B pawn. And what Levon managed to do over the course of the endgame was trade, and go to a winning queen and pawn endgame. But it's Magnus. He's not going to go away. Queen f5 check. And just let me try to go for perpetual. That's the thing about queen and pawn endgames. They're very tricky. All right, I'm sure many of you find them to be very tricky. He grabs a pawn, but here comes the queen to b8. All right, queen behind. And the pawn race is won by Black in many instances. Queen f5. All right, b3. h6, no back rank checkmate. Queen b1 back, b2. And White is out of moves. White is out of moves. I mean, Magnus could have played a6 here, and then there would have been check. And maybe this is holdable. Like, maybe there are some chances, but he plays king f2, and unfortunately, that's just check. And queen c1 is next. And Magnus loses game one. What? Magnus loses game one. What timeline are we in? Oh my goodness, this is crazy. That means that, I mean, that's going to be really, really bad. All right, well, now Magnus has Black. He just lost with White. This is a really terrible situation. All right, we have a semi-Tarash, cd5, ed5, okay. Yup. Levon plays a very aggressive line. Position opening up already. And position's completely equal, right? 0, 0, 0. So what should White play? Maybe bishop e2 and then castle, right? Okay, well, Levon does it this way. What's the difference? The difference is that Levon just lost the game in 12 moves. What? He's pinned. There's nothing he can do. And if he castles knight b4, he forgot about long castles. He just completely blanked that Black could castle long. He must have so long prepared for this, he didn't even think twice. Suddenly Black goes here. That wasn't legal a move ago. Oh my goodness. Magnus is completely winning. Now, to his credit, Levon fought. All right, he fought, and he fought, and he fought, but now we have an endgame, and, I'm pretty sure Magnus Carlsen up a piece in an endgame. I don't want to jinx the guy. I don't want to put an unreasonable amount of expectations on his shoulders, but something tells me that the greatest endgame player of all time, who does it on equal terms, can win a game up a knight. And Levon, the good sport, decides to allow the checkmate, and Magnus strikes back. What just happened? How did the world champ just get a gift like this? It's 1-1. You just beat Magnus in a grueling endgame with Black. Oh, Levon, you gotta bounce back. Come on, Levon, just throw this game out. Sometimes it's okay to lose like this. Levon, come on. All right, you got Black. All right, now queen a4 check. Wow. And Levon plays a line that I really like. He plays this move e5. Very aggressive move. Now, we have knight e5, and this line, knight g4. Okay, played here by Levon. I think bishop e6 is also a move, attacking the queen. If queen b5 check with the knight hanging, you can attack like this. And this looks like it's good for White to take all these pawns, but suddenly rook c8 comes, and that's fatal. So knight g4, though. Levon does it a slightly different way. Plays it like this, bishop c5. Magnus is like, you can't take my pawn, actually. You can't have it. Levon's like, I don't need the pawn. I'm going to castle. Magnus is like, no, you probably need the pawn, because now, good luck ever winning the pawn back, right? Like, you gave me a pawn in the opening. When you give away a pawn in the opening, you need to create sufficient counterplay. Where's Black's counterplay? The knight is passive, right? Whoa, g5! Oh my goodness. Magnus is like, okay, king h2, king, all right, so we going over here. So this is it, right? This is what you want to do, Levon. All right, you want to do it like this? All right, okay, Levon. Let's go. Put him up. Let's go Levon. And then, you know, you guys think Magnus fights orthodox or southpaw? You guys think Magnus is left-handed or right-handed? I think he's right-handed, right? He fights with his right hand. Got that overhand. Oh my goodness. King h2, queen h5, and he just gives him the knight. Just give him the knight. Just give him the knight for this. What has happened? Magnus is like, oh, I get it. You think that I'm scared of this and this, right? You think that after rook g1, you're gonna play gf4, and then you're gonna, you're gonna take this or whatever. And you're like, you think I'm afraid of this attack, right? To be honest, it's actually a very strong attack, right? Magnus is like, yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense that you would think that I'm fearful of your attack, which admittedly might have some venom in it. But what happens if I'm actually the attacker? What if you're actually locked in here with me? Levon's like, oh shit, I think this guy might be right. Queen g7. And Magnus says, oh, you don't want to take my pawn, right? Because I just played g4. You don't want to take, you want me to take you. No, it's time. No, you got to do something with that pawn now, Levon. It's time. I'm going to give you an offer you can't refuse. You got to either take my G pawn, you got to take my E pawn. If you don't take either of them, I'm going to take you. You go rook h6, that's fine. Take on g5. And when you do take my pawn, I'm going to go here. And when I'm done with that, I will come back for this pawn. And check out this move. Bishop e1. Anticipating the attack, blocking, getting a position where I just have that extra knight you gave me. You could do all this b-pawn stuff, Levon, but let's be serious. I get out of the way. I bring my rook. You resign. Magnus Carlsen has a 2-1 lead, which means we have to go to game 4. Levon wins this game. It's 2-2. Will he pull off the heroics like Christopher Yu? Bishop b5. Rossalimo. Magnus plays e5. E5. Like, it wasn't good enough. The guy wanted to take your knight. You're literally giving your pawn away. Admittedly, there's queen d4 here. That's not exactly how it works. But e5. Wow. A sideline of epic proportions. Bishop d6. All right. Developing like he learned chess yesterday, but he didn't. Oh, he did not learn chess yesterday. Rook e1, b5. There it goes, the counterplay. Knight rotating around. g6. Covering some squares, a4, Levon putting some pressure as well. Bishop c6, Levon's not gonna go gently into that good knight. Knight g4, queen d2, knight g5, f6, sacrificing the knight on h7. The idea is that this rook e3, rook h3, what are these little idiots over here gonna do to stop this attack? What, you think c4 is gonna, rook h3? Knight h7. Oh my goodness, is Magnus in trouble? Magnus says, you know what? I don't need no queen. All I need is a doll in my living room. Literally, by the way, look up that video. Takes. Sacks the queen. Sacks the queen. Now, there was nothing better for Levon. I don't think that Levon had any time here. He couldn't, like, take or something, because that would have just activated the bishop, and then knight f5 would have happened. So he gets a position where he has a queen, but he's had to lose a lot to get it. Magnus defends and defends. How are you going to break through to the black position? It's completely equal material. White is up 2 pawns. Black is up a bishop, knight, and a rook. 11. Make a wish. Bishop d5. c4. Takes. King f1. Getting the king to safety. Here comes h4 and f3. Here's the problem. Magnus has a sufficient amount of material to defend himself. Sometimes you sacrifice a queen for checkmate. Sometimes you sacrifice a queen to create winning chances for yourself like Christopher Yu. But the world champion of chess sacrifices his queen for defense. Yeah. And now he has an impenetrable fortress. It doesn't matter how much forward progress White will make. It doesn't matter how many pawns he sacrifices. It doesn't matter how close he gets to victory. Okay? There is nothing. There's absolutely nothing that he can do. The move g6 looks great. Rook f6, knight on f8, never mate, and it's too late. King h3, takes, bishop f2 check. Levon, rather than playing for a draw, decides that it's better to just lose his queen and go out on his sword. Magnus Carlsen moves on. And he will face the winner of Prague versus Keimer. So I think it's going to be Keimer versus Magnus. And it's going to be Liam versus... who won today? I have very bad short-term memory. Arigaisi. I think. I probably should have checked before I went live. I'm not even live. I'm recording. All right, guys, you know the drill. 5,000 comments. We're going to get Benji in the recap tomorrow. Also, if you managed to watch 30 minutes into this, putting out another song. It's going to come out this weekend. It's probably going to come out after this tournament is over. But make sure to check it out on Spotify. Just look up GothamChess. Look up Young Elo. Young Elo Gotham collab. I'll see you there. See you tomorrow for the recap. Get out of here.